And welcome back, Demon Souls. So time to go forward to the gates of Boletaria, huge stone castle. A place where the game will actually begin. Because this is not just the gates of Boletaria, because I already went there and the reception wasn't particularly friendly. This is Castle of Boletaria. There's a big red dragon flying around. All kinds of indications to tell that, yep, these ain't friendly. Reception in here isn't particularly friendly. But, well, and it's a big place, it's on fire. All kinds of unpleasantness going around. But there's no other choice but to go forward. Trying to get used to the combat mechanics of the game. So yeah, instead of gobbling Estus, you're gonna eat grass, different grasses. And this gate will open relating to the other little, you could say, unique mechanic this game has, which is called world tendency. And then there's character tendency as well. Well, they both have, you could say, well, neither of them is pointless. World tendency means that high world, or say there's light and dark, or white and black tendency, however you want to call it. And basically, black tendency means more dangerous enemies, but more rewards from killing them, and the opposite. And it tends to go in a style that killing bosses makes plays easier, and dying a lot makes it harder. But to die, you must actually be in mortal form, which Jenna the Herald is not. She is in the soul or ghost form, however you wanna call it, which is indicated by the fact that she's got way little hit points left. But, well, game is quite unsubtly hinting that go this way. This is how you could call it. This is just a stage 1-1, the beginning stage. It still is quite challenging enough to cause real trouble. Or of course, you could also say that Jenna is so weak and squishy that trying anything fancy will get her very much killed. And dropping down to that pit, even if she could survive it, because of the nope, not couldn't. But with different kind of flip, she could survive it, but there's, well, that's a death pit. You can't get there, period. So, no reason to take any pointless risks about it. You're there, you die. Well, I think it's wisest move to just make use of the magics and the fact that royalty starts with a ring that makes her magic well, the classes you can play with a male as well. Magic power points regenerate or recover, whatever verb you want to use, meaning that it's gonna be, it's very much, and the fact that the magic does a lot of damage at this phase of the early phase of the game, even with the most basic spell, means that just nuke everything with magic. Later Souls games would fix that issue by making magic way much less useful or powerful. Or usually something that, yeah, it's powerful, but it's just the fact that it's practically useless. That's my opinion. I know that some people have played through those games, or these games, using magic builds, sorcerers, and all that. And in this one, going for the faith build is nothing short of a completely suicidal. So just switch to the sturdy dagger mail breaker. Climbing through these walls and structures. That guy wanted to try to blow himself up with his fiery sword, which doesn't happen, because I'm not letting him to. Methodical approach to the game, which is to say, go forth slowly, try to take out enemies one by one, and preferably kill each and every one of them thoroughly. Is more or less massacred. And there's one guy. Oh yeah, they're dead. Good. They deserve to be. They should be. Location is already hostile enough. But in you would say scale or level, whatever verb you want to use, of Soulsborne games, beginning of Demon's Souls is actually quite lenient. Mostly because of the, well, selecting a class which actually has a very strong bite helps a lot. But also the fact that the enemies are very basic, and the fact that the game itself has quite, you could say, well, I don't know what could be the proper verb, rudimentary, simplistic. Simple trap, which absolutely fails to be anything but a little of an annoyance. Going forward again. So yeah, level design of the Demon's Souls is, well, it will be much later when I actually might say when I start complaining about these things, or better say start complaining about issues that they had already had in this one, and they have, and or you could say almost very staunchly kept, even though they are not, you could say, the most pleasant mechanics gameplay wise. That guy made a quite of a scream when they went out. And Boletarian Palace, which is to say this whole stage, is the, you could say, is the largest of the stages. Oh yeah, that guy dropped 300 experience points, which is to say quite a lot. And there's also quite lots of these fog walls compared in this one compared to the later ones. Firebomb. Game seems to be hinting something about giving lots of firebombs to use. And that one enemy decided to go full kamikaze on himself. But pine resin lets you makes a sword fire. Which is, well, that guy is one example of it. Gives a damage boost, which is not negligible. So you don't want to be at the receiving end of it. And this looks interesting. It's a big chain in here. What happens when I hit it? Well, it's very bad shape. That's one of two I must break down and destroy. Whatever is the proper verb for it. And there was also another one. And for some reason, From Software does like having dangling corpses that you can drop with all kinds of attacks, and then you can. Oh yeah, and those guys are really unsmart because, well. Taking them down. And this one, of course, naturally opens a little bit of a shortcut that this first stage actually has quite liberally in them. And also gives one very, very, very useful item, which I'm actually gonna put away right now. The Cling Ring. It reduces the amount of hit point reduction from false, well, when you are live form, you get full hit points. When you are a soul form, you get half of them. But with Cling Ring, you get to keep 3/4 of them, which is quite nice, notable boost. And seeing that most of this game is very likely played in soul form, having more hit points is quite good. And in this one, hit points also do have a matter. They are not. And hit points and protect armor do have some use and value in this one, and that would be another alternative little route down there, but I'm not gonna go take that one because it basically doesn't lead to any important locations. Trying to go in this direction again, seeing what was here. Oh, this one, a important location. And this guy is a monster. He's very dangerous. And I didn't have enough magic power to take him down. But I might return to him later. He guards a very important location. He guards the Tomb of Allant. Yeah. Or actually no. I don't remember what was the name. But he guards the Tomb of Ancient King. And that Ancient King is the guy... Ooh, well, suffice to say, more or less founded this place. And there's one guy seems to be trapped in there. Why? And there seems to be some sort of loot in there as well. So, which of course means that there's something important over there, which there is. There's very handy ring in there as well. The Boletarian palace, or the starting state phase of the game, does give quite a lot of handy items and trinkets. Oh, he went down and gave over 2,000 experience points or souls, or however you wanna call it. And this location on here, well, I can't get in. It's locked. It contains, you could say, one of the game's bonus bosses. And I'm supposed to say that one is something like you're gonna only manage to defeat him in the end game, and even then he's a complete monster. And he's so much of a and I don't mean complete monster in the sense that it's his evil character. No, he's actually one quite decent character. But I mean, with monster I meant that he's very powerful, capable of causing immense amount of damage very quickly and very efficiently. Right, how do I get there? Well, it's a matter of running. Try rolling. Oh! Oh, yes, I succeeded. Just barely, but I succeeded. Thief ring. A very useful, handy, necessary item. So let's just use some of my magic and blast out all those. Now let's have a talk with the guy.
That was a bold leap, a surprise indeed. Well, now that you are here, pray thee, fend off these dreglings.
Alright, I am fending them off. Actually, I'm doing very much killing them. Yeah, he wears an armor and he's a nice guy.
My thanks for your brave rescue. I am Ostrava of Boletaria. Accept this as a token of my gratitude.
And now he wanders off. So I think the prudent method is to follow him, because he seems to wearing that body armor makes him quite capable of fighting. Yeah, he goes down, they go down, and I hope at this phase of the game, taking hits is bad idea a lot. Because, well, death in this game really is painful. Not in the sense that, well, Well, sorry I missed.
I thought we were allies.
Well, we are. You were just in a funny angle, I would say the word. Dreglings are basically just something like a slave soldiers that they are given barely useful weapons and armor, and then just driven towards enemies to die. Which I would find, you could call them, I think the modern word would be something like cannon fodder. Not the most, you could say, likable scenario to be, pleasant scenario to be in. Oh, for some reason Ostrava ain't... Well, he went missing. I hope... Oh, there he is. Backstab.
Now I take my leave. There is something I must do.
But he looks quite important in the sense that he's got that big armor, hefty sword, nice looking shield. And the window isn't actually in a sense window, because you can see through it, but it ain't there. It doesn't have you could say physical sense, physical block. Oh yeah, more dreglings. Okay. Playing cautiously in this game, except if you are an expert and know everything and anything, and okay, can kill the final boss with just fists, and with using a very subpar equipment or build and defeat it still with fists. Then you bolt going. All kinds of wooden fortress structures still in this location a lot, which in a sense makes sense seeing what place this is. This is a palace and a fortress, and palaces, at least originally, weren't basically just a fancy places of living. They were military structures. Or they also were palaces had do a bit little retreat, eat some grass. Axe armed guys are a bit heavier equipped, which of course means that they are a bit more dangerous because of their heavier equipment. Oh, I can't oh yeah, I could get that. No matter, let that guy still be there. There's plenty of opportunities to run around killing them and scoring this place clean later off camera. This is just combination of memory trip, which ain't that old because I played Demon's Souls as a last Souls game. I had played Dark Souls and Bloodborne before that. I haven't played Sekiro and Elden Ring. That Knight shield, half moon grass, plenty of stuff. Which is good, because plenty of stuff is what is needed. And this big fall gave just a tiny little bit of damage. Which should tell something about that the falling damage in Demon's Souls is quite wonky. I don't know what would make why it is so, but it is so. In regular Dark Souls, that kind of falls at the beginning of the game would have been death. But in this one, nope, not even a severe one. And that looks very interesting little structure, so let's just strike it with a sword and let make there some rocks roll. And that was a little environmental attack you could make. Later, if I remember right, Souls games weren't that eager about giving you that kind of opportunities. They would usually just you were at the receiving end of those, not in the giving end. Or whatever is the proper word for the fact for it. Just using the regular regular magics just to overcome the enemies. And here's something. Yep. 2 dragons, blue and a red one. Both are dangerous. Both got something. So, getting near means you will be fried by a dragon. And it's some more grass. Grass, in a sense, healing in this game is much more plentiful, but in a sense also something you don't recover easily because, well, you have to find or buy grass. You can't just pay a visit to the something with moving. Yep, it's a dragon. I wonder what did it just show up to make a big screech, or is it planning something else? Oh yeah. It went to the nuke. So, bridge is clear. Time to make a run for it. Oh damn, didn't. Run more. Just get out from the dragon range. Yep, and luckily Dragonfire burns also enemies. So yeah, that's much less of a fight and much more of an environmental hazard for you to handle. Timing puzzle, which looks very impressive. And that dragon can be killed, but it, because of how immensely stupid it is. But it ain't, for that, lots of arrows and patience is needed. And that opens up the main big gate. and something flew from there. Doesn't seem to be particularly friendly, whatever there is. That's foreshadowing, because it's a kind of foreshadowing about. And Gregling had some sort of wooden weird helmet on. They aren't particularly. And of course these messages and bloodstains are something which would be very much part in, well, quite many of their games. You could say Souls copy. Because, well, calling something a copy of something is usually well, if you call something a copy of something, even if it was really actually good, it's something that implying that that took some fighting, but fighting in this game is exactly quite much what this game is about. You fight through things, you fight through the game. You fight through your own suspicions. You fight through hordes of enemies. But this looks very similar to room which was earlier. Gregling wearing a shabby wooden helmet and carrying a rusty piece of rusty sword, rusty piece of weaponry. And that one was I don't remember what was name of that that enemy, which I just threw spears at me, which luckily don't do so much damage, at least even at this phase of the game. But there's a unknown hero soul. Well, that ain't Vanguard. So Vanguard was the big huge demon right at the beginning. Oh yeah, it was hoplite demons. They were some kind of blobs with a shield and armor. And they are very susceptible to magic attacks, which is really good, because otherwise they would be quite unpleasant to fight against. Blade moongrass. Remove. Put something else in here. Fire bombs. What do these do? Oh, poison healing. Don't need. All kinds of handy stuff. But now I've done a full circle around the palace, and I've opened up the main gate, and there's a big cloud of fog in there, which of course implies that there's a demon over there. So time to go and say hello to the demon, which is also a boss of the first boss. Phalanx. A big blob. Which is then quite susceptible to the firebomb. And luckily the game gives quite a lot of them. And it's a slow. And it doesn't have much of a, you could say, pattern. I would say it does have pattern. Something like, just stay away from it. Don't let it. Oh yeah, it's taken a lot of damage. Basically, the gimmick of the fight is that you have to beat those hoplites surrounding the phalanx, and then once they have been taken down, you can start doing damage to the phalanx itself. Who goes down like that? And I shall obtain demon soul, and I have become alive. And there's something else in here. A piece of the archstone, which I will now touch. And return to Nexus, because now I have gained a soul of a demon. There might be something else happening in here.
Welcome back. The monumental awaits the above. The monumental will explain the nexus to thee.
And this woman carrying a staff, fiery staff, not wearing shoes, and with wax on her eyes, is called Maiden in Black.
The monumental awaits the above.
She knows things. And she's very important. And From Software would have someone similar to her appear in all Dark Souls games and in Bloodborne as well. And in Bloodborne she would appear. Her appearance would be very impressive, as in Dark Souls, yeah, Firekeepers, Dark Souls 2 and Dark Souls 3, very impressive one, but in this one they started, and she's got quite unsettling appearance with that waxing on her eyes. But Nexus is something like a limbo place, because the herald, that is what I like to call herald, is dead. She was killed by Vanguard, but she hasn't gone to the afterlife because of Nexus and Boletaria. But there's the monumental.
We have long awaited you, slayer of demons. I am one of the monumentals. We preserve the fabric of reality. There is a tale I wish to tell you. Once, we too a scourge of demons faced. In the distant past, under benevolent rule, the world was united owing to the soul arts. Until a lust for power caused the awakening of the Old One. Across the land seeped a colorless, deep fog, and the world faced extinction at the hands of the demons. Thanks be, we were able to lull the Old One back to its slumber, yet only after the loss of innumerable souls, and most of the world lost, erased by the fog. In order to mend the fabric of what lands still remained, we entrusted 6 leaders with 6 precious archstones, One to the king of a small yet industrious land. One to the king of the burrowers underground. One to the wise queen of the great ivory tower. One to the chieftain of lost and ill-fortuned souls. One to the shaman of the tempest-worshipping shadowmen. And the last to the great giants of the northern lands. The archstones were placed in the fringelands that survived. We contained the old one here below the nexus and prohibited the soul arts. Finally, we became monumentals, half-living sentinels of the fabric of reality. Alas, the other monumentals have perished, and only I remain.
Well, that was
Now
plot.
it is your turn. You must lull the old one back to its slumber and seal it away for all eternity. If not, a deep fog will absorb all that we know. Have you the strength to bear this burden?
Well, I could refuse, but then there would be the fact that, well, here you are stuck until you don't, or until you do. So I guess it's something that, well, I guess I have to, so I'll take the job.
Yes, we are fortunate indeed to have you. Now, go forth and destroy every last demon. The old one, without demons to feed its souls, will a new servant seek and lure you to its bosom.
So that would be the main goal of the game. Hunt down demons. Make them die. Use that, do that with massive amount of violence and death and destruction. Because, well, that's the more efficient. That's how it's gonna be done. And the architecture in here is a bit strange. So let's just walk away. Ouch. Bit painful, but not death. Which is, well... And I don't know, well, I guess that it would happen that when you die in Nexus you would just wake up in here, back here again. Because in normal conditions there is no enemies, hostiles in Nexus at all. So you can freely jump to death pits or whatever you want to call them. And where might it be? Oh, there she is, let's have a talk.
Brave soul, for whom death is no fear. Prithee, lull the old one back to its ancient slumber.
Now that means that I can now access the multiplayer mode. Now I can access all the other worlds, not just Boletarian Palace. And I can also do the leveling up. So the game has now just, you could say, opened up. I can't yet go to the all locations of this place, as in sense that because there's several, you could say, checkpoints in these worlds. I can't access them all, but I can go to every world. So it is time to end this episode, and I will continue next time in some other world. See ya then. See ya.